All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this long anticipated meeting of the Reapportionment Task Force, Tuesday, September 7th, 2021. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Present.
Froz,
Here.
Gums,
Here.
Kenyon,
Here.
Martin, Sanchez, Strathman, Shepro.
Here.
Strathman here.
Thank you. Purog,
Here. Yes, please.
Afif, Arnold, Gately, Hernandez,
Present.
Meyer, Pedersen, Rivera, Shilkey,
Present.
Walter.
And we do have a quorum. Thank you. Is there any public comment? I see none in the room. Is there any online? Hearing and seeing no public comment. Let's go on to the task at hand. And I have no formal comments except let's do good work as we go through this, since we've been on a hiatus for a little while. And we are going to be talking about the Aurora area, which has the biggest impact with change of numbers since we have gotten the census data back. Let's proceed to focus on this and see if we can get this done. I will remind at every meeting that on September 29th, it is with hope that I'll be able to present the map to the county board for their consensus. And that way we can move it on to public comment through the month of October and then have it finalized sometime in October so that we have a new county map. We've been working on this very hard. So with all that, I will turn this conversation. We have Phil here as well as Roger, and Josina, I think, is online. There she is. So I will turn it over to the three of them and they can lead the conversation. And Roger, why don't you start out, and Josina and Phil just
Okay.
please join.
So I think for first, Blair, I'm going to share a screen, and Josina, this will be the PDF file that you sent me with the districts. So give me 1 second and we'll share that out. Okay. So this should be. Okay. Josina, does that look correct? Can you see it? I think she's muted still. There
Yep.
she is. Okay, so I think it'd be best if maybe Josina led us through what she has done with since the census data came out and some of the districts that have been drawn and how those percentages play out. So Josina, I'll follow your lead. If you tell me next slide, I'll do next slide.
Perfect. Phil, was there any opening remarks or legal context you wanted to provide before I go into the numbers?
No, why don't you go ahead and I'll proceed afterwards.
Okay, and Phil will probably follow up on this comment, but I know that there has been a lot of unhappiness and unsettling feelings about the Aurora numbers in particular that came out of the census. These are the numbers that we have to work with at this point. If there is a recount, we will of course update the numbers, but this is all that we have on hand at this point. So that's what the numbers that we're using. Between 20.
Josina, I'll interrupt you for 1 second.
Sure.
Yeah,
I kind of opened
I
that
know
up
I've
for
talked to the chair about this, Madam Chair, but the reality it is, just so everybody knows, if and when we've all heard about Aurora and the possible undercount in Aurora, if and when that occurs, it will occur after your statutory deadline to pass this map. So you are going to have to pass a map or enact a map as a board prior to any of that happening. And whether you're actually even able to pass one later would be a discussion to be had at that time. I'm not even sure if they come up with these 17,000 people or whatever the mayor thinks exists in Aurora that you will even have an opportunity to change the map even after that. So just be aware of that.
And I've heard that as well. I've heard anecdotally that there is going to be a recount, and that number won't come forward until 23. So by then the map will be in place. And we'll address any issues with that recount once the number has been determined, what the missing number may be, and if we have any opportunity to discuss a new map.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So while I know it can be frustrating, I know a lot of you probably worked really hard to ensure a full census count. These are the numbers that we have legally to work with for this process. So Kane County had slight population growth of about 10,000 people. The Asian American and Latino populations grew. I'm sorry, slight population change of only about 1,000 over the last 10 years, with Latino population growth of about over 10,000 and an Asian American population growth by almost 4,000, with a decline in the white population by over 20,000 and a slight decline in the African American population by about 1,500. So that's the overall picture that we're working with. You can go to the next slide, Roger. So we did our best effort to redraw based off of the Federal Voting Rights Act, the areas in Aurora, Elgin, and Carpentersville. This is the same process that we went through a few months earlier when we had the ACS numbers, was to start with the voting rights districts and then draw out from there. So you can see in Aurora, we have District 1, 3, 6, 7, and 8 as Federal Voting Rights Act districts, with District 4 as what we would call an influence district of about 30% Latino. And so those are the areas I know that we're going to be focusing on for this one. Am I doing Elgin as well right now, or are we waiting?
That's it at 2:30.
That's what okay. So we can go to the next slide and take a look at what that looks like. We reconfigured based off of the shifts in population between the ACS and the 2020 census numbers. I can pull it on up on my map in a moment with streets, or Roger may have it loaded into Google Earth, so we can zoom into any areas that people want to look at. But in order to draw all of the federally required districts, we did have to go slightly out of Aurora. You can see a little bit further south on the southern tip, but largely stayed within the Aurora region. So I'm happy to, people probably just want to take a minute to look. If there's areas that you would like us to zoom in, happy to do that, and happy to just take whatever feedback and comments that people have and incorporate it into the next draft.
I have just a clarification, Josina. I'm looking at the voting rights districts. So I see Latino is at 59%, and with all at 59%. And then
I think you're looking at the voting age population column.
yes, correct. All right, and so that'll bring us safely with the concerns of MALDEF? Because I thought we were looking at 63% previously.
That's for the total. Yeah, Phil can answer that, but the goal was to stay above 63% total population and around 59-60% for the voting age population.
So the Latino going through, which is not highlighted except for 4, is all at 64, 63, 64%. And then the voting age population. All right, so out of that clarification, with 64, let's say Aurora 1, 64% is Latino. Out of that 64%, 59% of them are in voting age. Is that what I'm reading? Or is it 59%?
59% of the total voting age population is Latino.
Yes, what Josina said. So of your 21,000 people, of the voting age percentage of, so let's say voting age is, you got 21,000 people. You have maybe 15,000 of them are voting age population. Of the people who are voting age population, 59% are Latino.
Okay. I see where the numbers are now. Okay.
Yeah, you're correct. We talked about trying to get stuff to 63, 64 before that, as Josina mentioned, was total population. We kind of see a drop off in the Latino population of about 4 to 5% between voting age, between total population and voting age, because historically the Latino population has more children than the Caucasians. We've also seen, and Josina, you haven't run this in Dave's, have you?
I can.
Yeah. We're also seeing historically about a 6 to 8% drop between VAP and CVAP throughout the state at the districts I'm looking at now. That being said, that's kind of the only numbers we have for CVAP, which is citizens voting age population, is 2019 from the ACS. We've talked about the issues with the ACS. That's a 5-year survey or 5-year estimate. So it's not exact, but it is the best numbers we have for citizenship. That's pretty much the only numbers we have showing citizenship. When I look at the districts throughout the state that have been drawn statewide, the legislative districts, we're seeing about a 6 to 8% drop between voting age population down to citizens voting age population. So that's why I'd asked Josina to try and get as many of these at that 59% or higher number. We did not want to lose a Latino district by forcing them up too high and what we would call packing them. So, and as you may have heard, MALDEF is not very happy about the state map. The reason that is because two things. One is they have a couple districts up at 83 and 75% voting age population. And two is the number of districts with the citizens voting age population under 50% has dropped. So 50% citizens voting age population is kind of a magic number. It's not bulletproof. It's not all you look at, but it's a good rule of thumb. So given what we're seeing here, we think that your citizens voting age population is 50%. Now, are some areas that the numbers are really, really a huge drop. I'm not going to lie to you. There's some of the numbers throughout the state, and some of them may be in Aurora, where you have a voting age population, the citizens voting age population, like a 40% drop. I'm guessing there are certain areas in Aurora that are heavily non-citizens. So, but this is the best we can do with what we have to give Latinos an effective opportunity to elect. That's at least how I see these numbers. And Josina and I have looked through a couple different versions of this, and Josina has done a nice job of raising that VAP to 59. I think the first draft had a couple at 53, 54, 55, and Josina's worked really hard to get this to that 59% that I asked her to get it to.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions then for Josina? Okay, so Josina, perhaps, and I'm sure you've got your agenda, but perhaps we can just pull up the various districts so we can see what they look like.
Yeah,
Because
Roger has it loaded into Google Earth so we can
Yeah.
interactively look at
Let
it.
me switch screens real quick, and well, hopefully this will work. Just, I was having some of the same issues with the Google Earth that you had, I think, so.
Yeah, I kept dropping on mine. If not, I can share my screen in the
Oh,
mapping program.
This is the corner that she drew, and I stripped out some of the layers because it was.
And as we're pulling it up,
gotta
all
share
of
it.
our board members who, Monica and Myrna, I see you online, Mavis, anyone whose district is represented, please pay careful attention to this because we want to get your feedback on this and get your understanding. This is not going to be a final decision, but we've got to come pretty close to at least getting your ideas so that we can go back and have Josina and Roger and Phil address your concerns with that. So please feel free to ask appropriate questions as you feel to get a better understanding of your district.
Question, Shepro.
Yes, Mr. Shepro.
Do we have a version that overlays the new districts with the existing districts?
We don't have one in here today, no. So if you wanted an overlay of what Josina is providing, we would take that, get the shape files and then put them
Yeah,
into
I'd be
the
interested
GIS.
in seeing that. Eyeballing it, it looked like some districts have physically moved far from where they have given up a lot of territory that was in the old district. But it's hard, I can't really tell.
I can't even lift it up.
I think that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, particularly District 4.
6 looks different too, but
Roger, if it's helpful, I can share a screen where people can see the population density.
You want to try
And I
that?
can also add the old district layer.
Okay, yeah, let me get out of this and Blair, can you let Josina Marita share her screen?
It'll also make more sense if they can see the demographics.
Yep.
Oh, Anita, hi, welcome as well. And please participate to the best of your ability in reviewing your district.
Oh, absolutely. No, I've met with GIS a couple times and mine is one that's definitely changed. I've switched to Montgomery a whole lot, which I don't have an issue. The only issue I've had along the way, because it's just a few streets I asked them to narrow, or, to kind of give me full streets, and they did that very well.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Anita and
There
I
you
worked
go.
together on that because we butt up, yeah.
But
Yeah,
because we have
yeah.
we have a brand new map and this is the first time we're all seeing it.
Yeah.
And let me add the current district layer. Let me stop real quick.
Can we turn the light on or will that diffuse the,
Shouldn't hurt it.
'cause I can't. Thank you, Roger. Good, I can see now.
Hi. How are you? Good, how are you? Go Cubs.
And for the rest of the board members who are not affected by this redraw, it's all starting as we originally did in the tip of Aurora, and that would be the southeastern tip and is drawn out. And that'll, once we decide on this, and come to some kind of agreement with Aurora and with Elgin, the other parts of the map probably are going to be affected as this is best defined.
Can people see this?
Yes, just.
Yes.
So the blue lines are the existing districts. The red lines are the proposed draft that we'll be working off of. I'm trying to figure out the best way to make it readable. Give me 1 second just to. Should we just go in district number order?
That would be fine.
All right, so we'll start with District 1. Make it so you can see some of the streets as we get closer. Do you want me to just go around the outline of the district? Is that the best way?
Sure.
Let me make it so you can see the streets a little bit better.
So Mark, when you look at, welcome, when you look at this, the blue lines are the previous reiteration that Josina's pulling up right now. And the red lines reflect the new district.
The blue lines aren't on the handout.
Okay.
I'm just gonna make the labels a little bit bigger for you. And make them black so you can read them a little bit better.
Josina, it's the blue lines that represent the old one.
Yeah, the
Is
blue
that
lines are the old districts and the red lines are the new. So we'll start here in the upper corner of District 1. So you can see, hold on, let me zoom in a little bit better. You can see there's a loss of a few blocks right here. Then the border continues to follow. Northern end, again, a loss of a few blocks. Can you see my mouse?
Yeah, but actually that looks like it's just, that used to be District 2 where you're at, Josina. District 1 it looks like absorbed District 2 because District 1 was strictly kind of that downtown
Sorry.
Aurora
Yeah, let me
area.
turn on the label. Sorry. Right, so that was Berman's district, sorry. So here's the northern border. There we go. Up Maple, a little bit north of Maple. Goes east here to Farnsworth. That's over at 88. Goes down, looks like Old Church. Church. Cuts back over here to Task Road, zigzags a bit. Comes as far south as 2nd Avenue, up Union, over to College. You see cuts over to the river. And so if you take a step back, the darker the green area is the higher percentage Latino population. So that's why it cuts into this area to get to the Latino population threshold that it needs to, and then goes north to grab additional population to meet equal population standards. So if there's any zooming that you'd like me to do, that's
you
district.
Can you zoom back out so we can see the overlay again,
Mhm.
please? So Dale Berman is no longer existing. So his name would be
That'll move
removed.
north.
Okay.
And Josina, just for, this is Myrna Molina, I'm District
Sure.
1. Just wondering, why choose to move north instead of east-west?
So if you move east, you're grabbing more of the Latino density that's needed for District 7. Same if you move west into District 6, this is the Latino density that it needs to meet for voting rights standards. Same with south. So the only place to go is north.
So so Aurora basically is losing a district because District 2 is no longer Aurora. Right? That's
Mm-hmm. Because of the population shifts.
And what was it, 18,000 people drop approximately, Phil?
Yeah, I think it was 17 and change, but yeah, it was right in that range.
And-
So that's almost a whole board seat. So that's your problem.
And Josina, can you zoom down on the southern end, that southern border? I just want to make sure I'm still in District 1.
You're in the district, we overlaid. Sorry, let me turn off those numbers.
It's hard to see because there's two lines there. So you're only seeing, it's hard to see on that bottom southern border for you, but Josina, you want to use your cursor to just show where that bottom, that southern edge is?
Yeah, and hold on, I can add addresses. Hold on one second. That makes it easier for
Myrna,
people.
did you see your white block?
I did, but I don't think that's my address. I think we've been around this block before. I think that was my old address. That's why I want to make sure that you have my correct address on there, but I might be mistaken. I just saw it really quickly.
All right, let me share again.
I think
So yeah,
it's-
please verify that this is the right address.
I think that's a critical question.
This is where I have you.
So you're right at the edge of 1.
Josina, can you tell what street you have her located on? I think there was a question whether we had a right address.
Sure.
Just zoom in.
I have you at 719 East Downer.
Myrna, is that the correct address?
I was on mute. I'm sorry. Yes, that's the correct address.
Okay, good. Okay, so you're fine. You're there.
I'm still there. Thank you.
Red is new. Correct?
Yes, red is
Yeah,
new.
red is new, blue is old, and the pink are the incumbent addresses. Any other requests on 1 right now?
No, we can move on. We're gonna get a copy of this, right? Just to kind of look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
All right, District 3.
Yeah, that would be mine.
Let me,
Yeah. Yeah, this is very similar to what the last GIS map we had done and it all looks fine. Michelle, was the street that you particularly wanted, is that in there now?
was there a particular street I should take note of?
Michelle,
I didn't have my.
oh, I'm sorry, because you
We
wanted
had-
900 Fifth. The
Yeah,
900,
900 block of Fifth Street is where we had agreed on. Anita
Yeah.
and I.
and is that in there now?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
All right, I'll take that note and adjust.
Because I think hers and Michelle's and mine, but so much against each other that we were going to give her a little bit of that and then I would take a little bit of other. But we had it, between our two streets that the populations were about right.
Yeah.
Okay, I can adjust that border if you want to email me any specific notes of what, or even draw it with a highlighter.
Sure.
Happy to
That'd be fine.
adjust.
Yeah. Other than that, we were happy. We've talked about it quite a bit. So
Okay, great. So that's 3. We can move up to 4, which could have significant changes. And again, that is not a federal voting rights district. It is what one might consider an influence district, about 30% Latino. So
So this is another, that doesn't show all of 4 at the moment. I don't
no,
believe.
I just wanted to zoom in so you could see the southern half first. Do you want me to zoom
Okay,
out so you can see the
alright.
whole thing, or zoom or scroll up?
Okay, so this is another case, kind of like Myrna's question, that everything has shifted so much to the north.
Right, so again, if we were 6 could shift west or could shift north, but if it shifted west, it would take more of the core of your old district. try to respect as much of your boundaries, taking into account the population shifts and the need to grab Latino density in the center of the city. 6 went north so that you could maintain at least some of your core district and of course your address.
Uh-huh. Okay. Can you show up to the north? Let's go
Yeah.
up to the north, please. So this, how far
can-
does this go
It goes up to Oakland Circle.
in North Aurora?
By me.
So that feels like it's losing the point of being an Aurora district.
Oh, it's not. Very good.
Well, again, as Phil said, because of the population loss, it is very tight to try to keep you, again, you could have gone further north or you could have gone further west.
Is the western what is the western boundary there? Orchard? Is that Orchard?
Let me zoom in. Yes, that's Orchard.
Well, that's where I am now. So I guess I don't think I want to cross Orchard because
I figured, yeah, you'd be more in alignment population wise as a community of interest going north and staying in North Aurora than crossing over into the western end.
Josina, do you mind, it might be helpful. I think that area of 4 that is where Ms. Bates' core district, I think that's the heavier population area. So can you flip from Latino to population heat map?
Yep.
That may be helpful.
Want to go to overall population or?
Either one. I don't think it matters. Overall, probably.
Oops, sorry, clicked the wrong.
you missed population.
Yep. Over scrolled.
Yep, there you go. You're pretty good at this, Josina.
Were you looking at population density, Phil, or what were you trying to look at?
Yeah, I was just trying to look and see. I think that area is much more
Yeah, well, you can
heavily
tell by this.
populated.
You can tell by the streets. I think there's some Park District up there, that part of North Aurora does not seem to be, there's no streets in it.
Yeah, it's more spread out up here.
So
Yeah,
it's
I
north
think a
of,
lot of that stuff up north is industrial, especially where 88, that is 88, right?
okay,
So that's all industrial, not a lot of, at least voters.
yeah. Okay, I'll keep taking a look at it. It's a little surprising, but
Yeah, unfortunately, the population shifts between the 2019 and the 2020 data was significant. There were districts that were up to 30% deviation off.
what was mine?
Yours was under population by 8%.
Okay,
Before you
so
pull,
is this the population map? It doesn't seem to be showing any population. Oh gosh, these terrible, that's a pretty terrible color coding, isn't it? It's all about the same color. Okay, so the density is in the shading.
Yeah, it should be, but it doesn't. Let me find a different variation to show you.
It doesn't seem to be working, the density. Unless
Let me find a different,
Yeah, I think the thematics are so high that they're not showing up. That's why.
I think it's all about the same, but let me, let's see, I can do voting age. I know you have one of the larger African-American populations. And that doesn't look good either. Sometimes it's hard to.
is Ron,
Can you-
you're there?
Would it make sense,
Yeah.
Josina, to throw blocks on there? Because we'll see by the block, because each block's got a similar population and we'll see that it's much more dense. Would that help?
It is on block.
I meant okay.
And it shares, according to this grid, what you've got 56% of the voting age population is Caucasian.
So maybe let me do percent. There you go.
Oh, good. Now I can see something. Okay, so the darker the green, the,
The more population density you have.
okay. So that's true. My neighborhood, which I consider south of Galena, that's sort of my base, I would call that, is the most densely populated then, which makes, so my most dense population is still
Still in here.
the same spot that it was before. So the parts of North Aurora that, can you show, can you scroll up a little bit so I can see the north end?
Sure.
So that's
There's
not,
still, I think there's a few maybe residential developments up here.
oh, yeah, I see. Okay. All right, I'll keep looking at it. I understand. Thank you.
Sure, and I know it takes a little bit to take it all in, so please feel free to email any detailed comments. So we can zoom back out.
Can you show
to-
Flora one more time so I could, oh, I wanted to screenshot it. Sorry.
Mark, is that, the turnoff that's there on 88, that's where the car dealerships are, correct? And Target's up there?
Ms. Bates, do you want a screenshot?
Would you please,
It goes to Oak Street and then.
with the green, showing the
Did you
green?
want to do it or did you want me to do it and
Oh.
send it?
Okay, you can do it. Maybe you'd get a better shot.
Okay, I can send more scrolled in versions later. All right, so let me put it back on Latino population. All right, so we did 1, we did 3, we did 4. Let's go into 6. Let me know if there's a particular part you'd like to see.
What district are we on?
6.
Okay, thank you.
So this district moved further east.
Just a couple of questions. One is, as it crosses the river, understanding that, does that have just one side of the street or both sides or?
Just one side of the street.
Okay.
And is that 25?
Yes. And then my other comment would be just to, it's just a couple of neighborhoods that still need to be cleaned up. That we can talk about later.
Where is that? What neighborhoods, Ron?
Like going down Elmwood. Whether or not we can do something with that. And really the area, as far as drawing good lines, I think when you come down Randall, coming from up north, coming down south, I think that area just,
Bringing this chunk back in, is that what you're referring to?
yeah, that just really just all open area, more so than residential. So just to look at trying to clean up just lines for the purpose of having understanding when you're out there in the streets, understanding where the boundary lines are.
So the other thing I can show, because I know that this was a concern previously, right? Was the percent African-American population. So that's again, there's just not a lot of density there. So I did look at that for your district in particular. Let me go back to Latino.
Talking about the white section, Ron?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this section in there. I don't know, what that has a low population, so I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like it might be some open space.
It's actually
um,
quite a bit open space.
Yeah, I think we could trade off adding this section and trading off a little bit here. It might bring a percentage down by, you know, a small bit, but I can tinker with that.
Okay.
That's by Oberweis Dairies. Is that what we're looking at in that area
No,
there?
no, this is,
No?
That's a park.
South of there?
Yeah, because it says Indian Trail.
That's a big park.
right.
I see a lake there.
The only residency there is some on Elmwood, and I can't tell whether there's a apartment complex that's right there on the corner, whether or not that's included or not included, on the corner of Randall and Indian Trail.
Is it on the eastern side of the street or the western side of the street?
It's on the southeast.
Is it north of Golden Oaks?
Yes.
Okay, then it's not currently in, but again, if we tinker with that area, it can be added in.
All right.
Anything else that you'd like to see on this one?
No, I would just have a conversation with Mavis to see what she's comfortable with and not. We could do that. Me and her can do that together.
Okay. And District 7.
Taking a look now, I don't see major changes.
Okay, well, feel free to send anything in as you get to look at the actual street detail that Roger will send over.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Thank you, Josina.
Can you, just for the sake, for the rest of us, could you please pull up 7 so we get a little bit closer highlight on it,
Sure.
please?
So the northern boundary is that Spruce. And goes down Farnsworth, cuts over at 88, goes down Old Orchard, cuts back a little bit over to Task Road. Zigzags a bit, but basically kind of along that same geography. And then cuts over here at 2nd Avenue and then back down to 5th. And then you have this little pocket right here.
Okay, and Monica, does that, I know previously you had discussed that you wanted to be closer up to North Aurora. Does that answer your need for that?
Yeah, this is fine. It's a little larger than it was before, and I was just concerned because there are a lot of needs that need to be looked at, diverse needs, but the footprint seems like it stays pretty much the same. So yes, I'll take a closer look at the streets. I'm on my phone, but it looks like it's something that I can definitely work with. Thank you.
Oh, sure. Can you go back up north a little bit, please, on the map? There we are. Okay.
So the
Yeah, yeah.
northern border, I'm trying to see what street that is on my phone. What,
That's Spruce, Rachel Lane, Emily Lane.
okay.
Hold on, if I zoom a little bit, give me an actual. Just north of Charter Oak. Just south of Butterfield.
Yes, it looks good from what I can see. Thank you.
Good. Very good. Excellent.
All right, and then we have 8, which we talked a little bit about when we talked about 3. And again, because it's in the corner, there's only so far we can go. But again, this northern border right here being Fifth Avenue goes up Second, kind of stairways down back to Fifth. With this border right here being South Fourth Street over to Ashland, up that a little bit here and comes back down to Douglas.
So since Anita and Michelle share that South Fourth Street area as well as the other going up those steps, am I correct in assuming that one side of the street belongs to Anita and one side of the street belongs to Michelle?
Yeah, and it sounds like they've kind of communicated about that border and will send what they would like.
Yeah, it's not far off. Yeah, it's not far off. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
no, it's real close. So there's just a few streets, and the way we had worked it out initially, I was giving her a little bit and she was giving me, but yeah, we'll work together on that and get you our changes.
Great.
Okay.
All right. Is there anything else that folks would like to
Fine, Michelle. Except
look
for-
at? I know, and also you'll want to look in more detail and we'll have some comments later. I know it's a lot to take in right now.
Okay, are there, since we have some of our advisory board members here, are there any comments from any of you regarding what this looks like?
I have none.
No? You good?
I just want to throw in this for whatever it's worth. Looking at the date, and this was originally counted, and you told us the date, it was back in 2020, October or something was the final date.
April 1st is considered Census Day, but yeah, they continue to count through
Okay.
October.
I just want to share that I went back after I was shared that date, and in Batavia,
Who's
I counted
speaking,
our bill.
please? Vern,
Pardon?
is this you? Who's speaking?
Mayor Shelkey from the city of Batavia.
Thank you.
Basically, I went back and counted all the new building permits we've issued since that date. And as near as the staff and myself could tell, we have probably added about 1,500 people to Batavia. So, I mean, and I appreciate why we have to go back to that date, and I'm not arguing that, but there's a lot of have to be adjustment made. In fact, I'm not as bad as Aurora, but we're going to be waiting for everything to kind of shake out, and then we're going to do a special census on Batavia, probably about 2023 or 4, just to count them, get credit for all those people for the last half of the decade, because, we know we're probably going to have close to 2,000 new people in there, so that will be a nice thing to have. And I think I would tell all the other cities,
About 60,000, give or take a year.
right,
additional funds.
we're going to, all the other cities in the county at the King County Council of Mayors, of which I'm the chairman, we've already talked about this, and, the suggestion is pretty well, I think, being kicked around by many of the cities that there's going to be a lot of special census done here mid-decade of it going on. I think the county's done a nice job with this. I don't have any arguments about it, but I just, it caught us at a bad time from when they had to shut down versus when things all of a sudden started really kicking in the real estate market and that. And you've had some really volatility here recently that has really brought a lot of new faces into the towns too, into the existing home market. So there's the population, I think, it shows it to be down, but it's probably pretty close to being up.
Yeah,
I think it's up.
I agree. Same thing in Aurora, there's an undercount, and it's just.
Mike, please. Mike, please.
Mr. Mark, you need to speak to the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me through there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're looking at Aurora too, the same type of situation, undercount. And I know that they're going to do a special census as well. I think that's just dynamics of the area and, people didn't get counted.
Those federal dollars are critically important to have.
Precisely.
And
To this
appropriate
point, the county has done a
representation.
very nice job, in my opinion, trying to put this together, and it's a lot of moving parts to this thing, and it's hard to just shut it off at a date, and especially this date, this decade, because that's when all the growth started, about the time we stopped counting. So that was just the way it was.
It's starting to explode. So we can get direction going forward. When should we ask for this Aurora caucus, if I could call it that, to give any final, their thoughts, and then get the final draft back to you for your mutual agreement? Should we pick a date with one, and then we'll do the same thing for Elgin, and we'll pick the same date so that we can, or at least they're close to it, so that Josina and Roger and Phil have a time to review.
Madam Chair, Ron,
Yes,
Ford.
yes, Mr. Ford.
I would say if we can just get a copy of our districts with the streets on it, so we can take a good look, give her a chance to talk to those who we are adjacent to, and give us time to do that. And I think we will have time to come back and send comments out and then come back. What, maybe 2 weeks.
So we'll be taking the shape files from Josina, and we can generate printed maps or electronic maps. We should be able to get those this week, I would think. And, Josina, I think we're just talking about the Aurora and Elgin. We're not the rest
Right,
of the
so
county.
you can have those shape files today. I can send
Okay.
them to you, and then as soon as we get off
Okay, yeah.
this Zoom. And so what is, Madam Chair, what is the goal deadline for the full map?
September 29th at this point. That's not written in stone. We can have some flexibility, but it would be nice to get this done sooner than later and not to keep on pushing it back. But we do have some flexibility, but I don't want to go into mid-October.
Right, so if I get you guys the shape files today, if people could give comment by Sunday evening, end of Sunday? Because the rest of, once we finalize and kind of come to agreement on Aurora and Elgin, we still have the rest of the county to draw.
And we have another comment, Mr. Frost.
Frost speaking. Yeah, I guess, as a board member and a member of this committee, with that date in mind, I just want to make sure, listening to some of the comments I've heard, hey, I guess I'm okay. I might be okay. We can look at it some more. I think we should just get to a point where the board members sign off and say, I'm on board, even if it's just by email. If they could do that, if Josina got these by Sunday night, or by Sunday night, if they could just send an email to you and say, I'm signing off, I'm on board. That would be my biggest criteria, that the board members are satisfied.
Oh, we have to make sure that the board members are satisfied, and that will give you today's Tuesday, it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, basically then 4 days or 3 other working days.
Josina, could you scroll down a little bit, please, to get that top part in for final?
And
Sure.
Mr. Shepro has a question.
Yeah, that was really a comment and probably unnecessary, but when we say that they should talk among themselves, we have to bear in mind the constraints of the Open Meetings Act. It doesn't mean everybody can go off to someplace and have another meeting without posting it. So,
Correct. So no going off for coffee at your favorite coffee house, all gathering together, two at a time,
Right.
2 at a time. So everyone can wait in line or meet in different rooms.
right.
So reply all is a bad thing?
Reply all is a bad thing.
Yeah, no, just reply to Roger, Josina, and to me, please.
I would say at least give us a Wednesday,
1 week?
1 week, next
I
Wednesday.
think that's fair. I
Yeah.
think that's fair. So what is that date?
Yeah, it'd be the 14th.
Okay, so September 4th.
14th
It would be the
is the
15th.
Tuesday. 15th is Wednesday.
Okay, so September 15th.
Is there the 14th, was the 14th the day for the task force to meet again? I mean,
That I believe is the 17th.
17th. So the 15th would make sense
Mhm.
in that time frame as well. Shepro. that
Well,
was-
I would need more than a day to incorporate everybody's changes.
Well, let's say the 14th then.
That's a Tuesday.
We're here on the 16th.
Is it the 16th? So, and that is a Wednesday?
That's
That's a Thursday,
That's a-
sorry, Thursday. Okay.
I don't anticipate a lot of gums. I'm sorry.
Well, let's talk to our demographer. We're getting into the weeds, but I think these are important. To
So if I
decide
could get
upon.
all the comments by the end of the day, the 14th, I can turn around another draft by the end of the day, the 16th. You guys, you said you're meeting on the 17th or you're meeting on the 16th?
16.
Oh, I see that on my schedule now. Okay.
So that's Tuesday. Could we get it done by Monday?
If that would be possible for board members, that'll give me time to turn around a draft that they can review before the meeting.
Josina, you have not drawn the other districts outside of Elgin and Aurora with the new numbers yet, or?
No.
have you?
No, not yet. It seemed a little bit premature.
No, I understand. Can I ask a question of the Aurora contingency? Is there any, and this may help her, I guess is my point, and I'd probably ask the same thing of Elgin. Is there any problem, are you guys seeing problems with the outside of your districts, like the outside borders of these districts? Or is it more internal of, I got to talk to Anita, I got to talk to Ron, that kind of thing? So if that's the case, maybe we leave Elgin with the same concept and she can start working in the meantime. That's all I'm trying to get, so we don't have a time problem for you guys at the end.
Yes, I think, gums, I think we can do the 13th. We work pretty quick in Aurora. Come on.
So, all right.
Yeah,
so
Lewis, no
let's see here.
problem.
When you say the outside, we're talking about the,
The northern
Is-
and the
is
east, the northern and the western
northern-
borders, are those okay, I guess is the question at this point.
I think for the most part, this is forward. I think for the most part, yes.
okay.
Let's do.
Yeah, then I
let's
can
do the-
start drawing the other districts once, as long as that's the same for Elgin and Carpentersville.
All right, so just, I want confirmation here for 7, 1, 4, and 3. So we've got Monica, are you okay? Is she on there or did she go?
I'm
Josina,
here. I have to unmute. So far, yes, it looks good to me.
Okay, so you're fine with your northern border.
And I think, Monica, Ms. Silva, I think your northern border is the same as it was before, right, Josina?
If not, it's by a few blocks. I can't remember the old draft.
Oh, yeah, it takes in a
Yeah.
little
It's very
less. It doesn't go
similar.
as far north.
It takes in less.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Okay.
Okay, Myrna, how about you for your northern border?
Well, no, I mean, you basically eliminated District 1 and gave me District 2. So my northern border is completely outside of what it used to be, so I'm not okay with it. So I'm gonna take some time to review it because you basically removed my whole district and the neighborhood inside, those neighborhoods in Aurora. So I get the whole, the population shift, but I'm not okay with it if that's what you're asking, no.
No, I'm asking specifically that. So you do have problems with the northern border.
I do, yeah. I mean, basically Aurora is losing a district and it's losing the District 1, which is the most heavily populated Hispanic district.
Okay.
Comment, Shepro.
Yes, Mr. Shepro.
Yeah, well, I guess taking what Myrna said, I take it that there are issues with more than the northern border with respect to District 1.
And is that the area that the population received that large undercount is in 1?
Looks like, yeah, 1 and 7, those 2. Maybe some of 3.
Okay.
And those people have not disappeared.
No, they're there.
But we only can go with
I know.
we're just going through with numbers. So, yeah, what are we gonna, all right, so we'll be able to get your thoughts then, Myrna, by Monday. I know it's a lot of careful thinking and consideration at this point, but we have to move forward. Unfortunately, time is forcing us to make some decisions.
Myrna,
Yeah,
do you feel-
I guess if I can, sorry, Mavis, if I can just say one more thing before I forget. I want to make sure that the population that was expected of the Latinx population in Aurora is what was given. I know we're not going to have the voting age population of our districts for the minority majority districts. I know we're not going to have that by the end of September, but it's something that's concerning me and it continues to concern.
You do have the voting age numbers. They were in the document that was provided.
The citizen voting age numbers.
Yeah, you won't have those.
Yeah. And that's what's concerning to me, because you're basically, we can either be doing the right thing or we can be doing the completely opposite of what we're trying to achieve because we don't have those numbers. So those are still my concerns.
And when will we get the citizens for the voting age population, which is now represented in number 1 of 59%? Are those all citizens or not, or we won't have that data?
We won't see citizens numbers until 2022. So you will be passing this map before you'll get CVAP, given the way the census is coming out.
So unfortunately, Marina, we will not be able to have that data.
Yeah, but it's because there is such a large undercount in Aurora that we're assuming a lot of those numbers, we're gambling right now, and I don't think we're gambling the right way. So that's still going to be my concern. And so I'll look
Okay.
at your, but yeah, I'm still very concerned with that.
Okay, if you can be as very clear, I respect your concerns and I understand them, but if you can be as clear as possible of what your concerns are so that we make sure that we adequately represent that data, that is going to be really important for all of us.
To follow up, Shepro, on your comments, Madam Chair, I would like to see, since essentially we are, as a group, delegating to Josina to go ahead and redraw it based on comments as opposed to our reviewing them first. And I understand the time constraint. I would say I'd like to see if there are changes, if it can be explained in detail, each change that was made and why.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
I think that'd be important, Fred. I think that's what the members would probably like as well.
I think that's fair. Phil, you'll be able to help?
Yeah, Josina, so we'll just do an overlay between this map and the next map you do, right? That's all you'll have to do.
I can do the explanation. I can do the detail. The why may be a little bit more up to you all.
So it's just to confirm, Monday is September 13th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so September 13th we close here at 4:30. So we'll need to hear from you by, Roger, when do you need it?
Well, it'd be more, once you provide it by the end of the day, we'd get it to Josina, whatever feedback we have. So the sooner we can get it to her, the more time she'll have.
Could we ask for everybody to make their choice by no later than 3:30 in the afternoon? And that way we can send all that information. I mean, that way they'll be, because staff usually leaves here anywhere between 4:30 and 5. And we want to make sure that we get it to Josina that evening. So she has it in her inbox first thing on Tuesday morning when she starts work, or she may be working at night. We all in agreement with that? Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Just as long as we get the information in time to
Sure.
match that, that's the thing.
Okay, well, I think she's going to send those out to you today.
Well,
She's going to send us the shape files. We'll pull them in and then we'll generate.
so
We
she-
can generate an electronic map and send it to you. And then if you want paper, we can print it.
But if she has problems with IT problems, then
No.
everything gets delayed. I said, if she does, then everything gets delayed.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
So
We've
when,
tested that. She's sent us numerous shape files and we've imported them. So I don't see any issues.
If anything, I can send you more detailed screenshots just as a backup in the next hour as well.
okay.
That'd be
We
great.
can get printed copies as well
Yeah.
of the district,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
each one individually, so that you can share, you can Xerox them, make copies of them and share with each other. So you can draw lines on it. So we'll get those to you. You just have to stop by, or we can send them to you electronically and you can print them out at your convenience, or come by and pick them up here if you so choose. Okay. Okay, so Monday, September 13th at 3:30. And then we'll also, any changes that are made to those maps pending your input, then we will then make sure that they're detailed so that the rest of the committee knows what those concerns were. Okay, so that's what we've decided so far. Okay, and do we have, we got done with 1, how about 4? Mavis, how's your, you got
Yeah,
the
yep.
northern and the western border?
Well, the northern border is a surprise to me. I don't know that that's part of my community of interest. I'm glad to see that the lower part looks, you know, what I think Josina said, or Phil, that the most heavily populated parts, and really the parts that I'm probably the most familiar with myself, are still there. It feels strange to go up into North Aurora, but I'll just have to look at it some more. I think my community of interest is intact.
Okay, well, you're
mostly.
still, Mark Atley has just said that you are in Aurora Township and at your northern border. So even though
Okay.
you're not in the city of Aurora, it
Okay.
expands out to the township.
Okay. So like Mr. Ford said, maybe he and I have to look at this more closely, but I think it's going to be all right.
I'm familiar with that area, and I can guarantee you there's some, it's a good area.
Mhm. Okay, up in North Aurora. Okay,
Some areas I'm more familiar with than others, and that's a very fine area to be in.
Mhm.
My opinion.
It'll probably be okay.
And then Anita, are you all right with, that would be
Yes.
your western border? Yeah, you.
Yes. Yeah, I've moved to Montgomery, which is fine. I've seen this version of the map, you know, mostly
Okay.
for the last few months, and Montgomery's a fine area along with Aurora, so I'm fine.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Yeah, that's a nice area. I know that area as well.
Yeah.
That's a very nice area.
All of
for
Kane
that.
County is a nice area, Madam Chairman. Okay,
For that I concur.
okay.
Politician.
We're all equal.
Yes, yes.
Well
Yeah, no,
said.
it's perfectly fine. And a few streets, like Michelle said, her and I will get together and we'll be done by Monday afternoon.
Anita, do you promise to take good care of my southern precincts?
Absolutely. And you know what? If I have any questions, I will call you. That's the beauty of us all. We all see each other and work together anyway.
You too.
So.
You too.
I hate to give up, I hate to give up my peeps that I've gotten to know.
All right, ladies, thank you so much. And thank you all. All right, are there any other questions or concerns? Okay, very good. Thank you so much, everybody. I think if there's no other comments, I don't.
Motion to recess until 2:30.
Yes, we'll recess, but we don't need to go into executive session. I think there were 2 separate meetings, though.
They're two separate.
So
meetings.
let's,
Then I'll just move to adjourn.
Second.
Madam Chair, question,
Yes,
please.
Ross.
We-
Yes.
Will we be receiving these maps in email soon? Is that the plan?
That is correct.
Thank you very
Within 12 hours,
Thank you. Thank you, Justine and Phil and Madam Chair.
2 o'clock in the morning. They're going to be in your inbox.
All right, I'll set an alarm.
Uh,
Okay. All right. We are adjourned. Thank you so much.
Thank you.